Good evening and salutations, my Days of a Lives fans. So, I'm going to start off on a happy note, and then we're going to get into the episode. And then maybe towards the end, I may, I might actually have to be, uh, I may have to be a not so nice person. But, I'm going to start off on the positive. I love the fact that I can watch Days starting from 6 in the morning. Now, obviously, I'm not going to wake up at 6 in the morning, but I don't like the fact that, with Peacock, when Days was on, I had to wait till 8 o'clock to sit there and watch the nice, clean HD format, okay? As opposed to watching it on this platform, which, by the way, I tried to look for Days and I didn't see it. But, it's just so much more better. It's so much more better than waiting to 8 o'clock to sit there and watch like the good version, as opposed to you going on some site. I know there's a site that I usually do go on to watch, but even when I go on that site, it's like they change the voices and they do whatever they can to make sure that the video doesn't get taken down. Okay, and then when you go on here, they do the exact same thing. They play the music in the background. They change like the camera and stuff like that, and it's so. And usually I deal with that because I like putting my reviews early, but I don't have to do it anymore, and it's great, and I love it. Okay, I guess we can maybe call this review the compliment sandwich. And we gotta start off with Stephanie and Alex, okay? Because we have this whole. This is 2022. Okay, I don't understand what person on the entire planet think that it's okay to sit there and not just men, but women too, on any planet, that they think that repeatedly asking somebody, repeatedly harassing someone, repeatedly making this person feel uncomfortable, regardless of how many times they say, "You make me feel uncomfortable, stop doing that." I don't understand what person on the entire planet doesn't understand that. Okay, I get it. It's Alex and he's good looking and everything like that. He's not used to people saying no to him. That's fine. But at some point, we're not going to use that as an excuse. We're just not. And despite what that idiot Bonnie said, no, it's not okay. Okay? And that's not something you should just sit there and just ignore or act like it's just not that big of a deal. I swear, I feel like when she said that, I was like, bro, how do you sit there? I mean, granted, I get it, it's a character, but I feel like even the actress might have been like, wow, I can't believe I actually had to sit there and say, who cares if somebody decides to sue you for harassment? Like, I don't even understand how somebody even says that with a straight face. But we had this PSA, and he finally understood. You know what? No means no. Fine, cool. So he had to talk with Allie and Chanel about his feelings and being rejected, and Chanel and Allie gave him advice that literally contradicted the other. Chanel was like, "You need to go back to what you were doing until you find the right person." And Allie was like, "No, you should sit there and not do that and meet somebody who you're actually going to fall in love with." Here's the thing: they're both great advice. Okay, I don't even like these two, but they're both great advice. Problem is, it's like they just contradict each other. That's the thing; they contradict each other. So he takes their advice to heart. Because at one point he came up there and he was like, "I want to find a way to get over her." At the end of the conversation, you want to go into the bar. This pisses me off so much. Okay? This pisses me off so much. Because after a conversation with Paulina and Abe, after telling about the numbers and everything like that, um, going over a plan, for like, I guess, talk show interview or whatever. they're going through all that with business. Then, Stephanie asks, like, how did you know when you met the right person? And, Paulina goes through all the different things, the ups and downs, and, you know, at the end, the end result. So after all that, and she, I guess she was like, oh, well, when the one is the one, you'll know. Now she pulls a 180. Okay? She literally pulls a 180. She knew that Alex was at the bar because Alex asked her to go to the bar. And there was Roman. She could have went to Roman. She could have went to Jew. She could have went to a number of different places. Okay, she shows up there first, and I was like, "Hey, you know what? Listen, I don't need to be here. I don't want this. You to sit there and think I'm stalking you, whatever. I'm just gonna go. No, 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 no. You can stay here. Let's just have that drink. I'm buying. You know how hard I tapped my foot on the ground when I saw that she just did a complete and utter 180 after making us sit through that goddamn PSA. I had to sit there and watch her just do the exact opposite. Oh my god. Okay. This woman is working my nerves. I feel like she's gonna have a spot there. A spot. This is a spot when characters irritates me so much that I start to roll my eyes the minute that I see them on screen. Like who and who? Allie and Chanel. Stephanie, oof, this girl trying to get in that damn spot so bad. Godspeed. But on the bright side, well, not really on the bright side, Allie and Chanel now know that, Paulina's running for governor, so now they gotta sit there and take all the cookies that Paulina bought, and they gotta sit there and make a whole bunch more. So, let's talk about Johnny and Ava. I know that there are people in the chats yesterday that was for it. I know there's a lot of people that is for this Allie and Chanel thing. I mean, this Ava and Johnny thing. I know my guy DC Sanctuary was all about that. Me, on the other hand, I felt like it was just, at the very least, disrespectful. Okay, I know everyone has their opinions, not just mine. It was just like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, it's been less than 2 weeks ago and you're jumping in bed with this guy. But she does stop and she gives a bunch of different list of reasons of why they shouldn't be together. Most important one is not getting over Jake. Now, EJ and Shen, I mean, have they always been like that? I mean, I know with EJ, he's kind of like that with, well, almost anyone, but still, like, it seemed like they just had this whole thing, like, they got into this whole, like, I wouldn't say argument, but just sniping at each other, you know? Talking about Gabby and, Stefan and Johnny and everything like that. So they just kept throwing each other's, like, family and past in their faces. And in the end, Shannon was like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait outside for Gabby. I'm not doing this. So he leaves. EJ goes upstairs. He knocks on the door. He's like, hey, you missed a memorial that you planned and everything like that. He walks in the room. He's like, bro, I'm just gonna sit there and say this. And I don't think I should have to say this, but here's the thing: when you walk into your child's room, you know that whole saying, don't come knocking if the room is a knocking or whatever? There's just things you may not want to say. Okay? He can be in bed with someone else, not even Ava. Or he can be taking care of business. Okay? I don't think I really should have to say anything more than that. Okay? But I feel like those are mental images that I don't think that EJ wants to sit there and have. I don't think that any parent wants to sit there and have. So bottom line, if you're gonna sit there before you walk into your teenager's son's or daughter's room, after you knock, you make sure you sit there and say, "Are you good?" Okay, that gives them time to wrap up whatever it is that they're gonna wrap up. Okay, I'm saying this because I want to make sure that you don't get any sort of mental images stuck in your head because they're just not they're not fun. But anyway, he walks on in, he sees them both in the bed, and he's like, "Get your clothes, get out of my house now." I heard somebody banging, and I was like, then I realized it was from my neighbor, but and they weren't just knocking. I mean, they were like bang, 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 bang. And in my head, I'm like, who the? So anyway, they get to arguing. He's about to call her names that you just shouldn't refer to a woman as. Okay. And long story short, he tells Ava to get out, and Johnny's like, "I'm going to." He's like, "Good riddance to both of you. Good riddance to both of you." Finally, well, he has maybe one more person to sit there and kick out or lose, and that's Tony, because he does have a daughter. I don't know if we're ever going to see this daughter, but he does have a daughter. But yeah, he just kicked out his son, and then even after, when EJ called her a cougar, which by the way is not an insult. Okay, it's just not. And she does the whole little thing or whatever, which was hilarious, by the way. He got to a point he started drinking, and after he chugged that last, after he chugged it, it looked like he was trying to find the nearest wall to throw the glass at. Okay, because I remember him doing that before, so it looked like he was about to chuck it, but it was like, oh, the wall is too close. It's just gonna go right back into my eyes. And then he just stopped himself, but it's like you saw it. Now, Gabby sees Stefan, and at first, she thinks it's Jake. After talking and showing him the scar, realizes that it's Stefan. Love and loved. Loved as in past tense. Love as in presence. Okay? And she was like, "Oh, do you remember me? Do you remember our love? I love you and stuff like that." And I was like, "I'm sorry, did you say you love him?" It could have been my imagination. I know you could have just said loved, right? Like with an ed at the end, with a d at the end. No, you didn't. You didn't say that. You just okay. So you just left out the d. Okay, cool. So she is after she's like surprised and everything like that. She starts talking to him, trying to get him to remember. She even kisses him. Okay, she kisses him. She is literally says she was, she really um accepted the ring from Shem. The minute that she saw, the minute that she saw Stefan, she said she loved him and she kissed him. There was a point where EJ was like, when he found out, he was like, "Oh yeah, you two are married, my condolences," and kept it there, bringing up his insecurities as far as, she might have talked herself into marrying you or whatever, but like she's always going to be in love with Stefan. While he was angry and everything like that, he tried to get back at EJ about talking about Johnny and everything like that. At the end of the day, AJ was right. Okay. Now, when Shane came in there, Shane was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Oh, that was hilarious." And then Stefan was angry because he was like, "Yo, listen, I was happy with Chloe, and you tried to seduce me so this way you can get into the family business." And he walks off, and she's all like, "No, you guys have to remember this, that, and the third." And she's begging him to come back. Meanwhile, Shen is like right there, and I'm like, "Oof, that's so disrespectful." But at the end, Gabby hugged him, and he was like, "No, it's okay. I'm gonna make this better." And he starts smiling, and I'm just like, "All right, bro." I guess he knew that at some point, Stefan was going to be around, and she was going to have that reaction. So he didn't have the reaction of, "I know she did not just try to beg this man to stay when I just proposed to her with that expensive ring on her finger." 'Cause that's how most men would have reacted. So they run into well, Johnny and Ava run into Chanel and Allie, and they're like, "Yeah, EJ kicked us out, so now we're going to be sharing. Now we're going to be sitting there staying in the Salem Inn." And I think one of them, I can't remember which one. One was like, "Wait, really?" He's like, "Yeah, all right." Then he was like, "All right, we'll see you." And they walked off, and they both had that dumbfounded look on their face, like, I'm like, "Are you mad or something? I mean, shouldn't you be happy that he's not lusting after your girlfriend?" Like, what do you want? And maybe I could have just read too much into that because let's be honest, I don't like those two at all. Um, but he just had a puzzling look on their face, and it's like, what does it matter? Like, your brother's now on the streets, right? So why do you have that puzzled look on your face for? But I will sit there and say, even when the stuff like Stephanie got me annoyed, to be honest, she got me hell of annoyed. Still enjoyed the episode. Still enjoyed the episode. It was a really good episode. Now, before I go, and this wasn't on my comment section. This was, I think Deidre Hall did an interview on the Today Show, I think. And, she's meant to talk about Peacock and how much good of a move it is, what the audience, and yada, 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 right? So the first thing I did was I was like, man, I wonder how many people are going to sit there and can be complaining about this. Went through the section. There was one. And I feel like at this point, this person was so caught up in their feelings that they didn't want to understand why Days did what they did. All she was there, she was just so caught up in her feelings, talking about, oh well, you're gonna lose hundreds and hundreds of seniors because it's it may seem like dimes and pennies to you, but with people that are living on limited, yada yada yada, and I'm just like, bro. First of all, it annoyed me because she tried to speak for every single senior citizen on the planet. Like they were just the way she tried to speak about them is almost like they were not smart enough to understand how to um sign up. You know, like it bothered me. It bothered me that she thought that every other senior citizen was stupid. Like, oh, we're just so old, we can't figure it. No, I'd be surprised. There are senior citizens that have been more tech savvy than people my age, even people that's younger than me. So I didn't really like how she sat there and tried to make it seem like all the senior citizens just didn't know how to do it. And if there's a thing about money, it right now at least is $1.99. And I sat there and I looked and I was like, oh, on a very fixed income, and that's something else that bothers me. Okay, because this is the this probably the same woman that just sit there and see at Starbucks getting like a small coffee for like $6 or $7. But yet she wants to sit there and complain about $4.99. It probably was a lot more. Probably was a lot more of a. I want this video to get demonetized, so I'm not going to say what. But it starts with a letter of the alphabet. I'm not going to say which one. It was not nice. I just it's at a point where it's like they're doing literally everything that they can to try to get as many people on board as possible. You know, they slash the price for a lot of people to $1.99. They have tutorials on YouTube. They actually have, and forget YouTube for a minute. They have a phone number that you can call, and they can walk you through how to set it up. I'm like, they couldn't have made it more easier for people if they try. So I feel like when she was complaining about that, it was like, boom, you're just not gonna watch it. Excuse me. Like I just sat there and I was like, oh well, you're just not gonna watch it. That's the bottom line. But everyone else is gonna move forward without you. You know, and I get the fixed income, but to some extent, I feel like when people say that, I mean, this person, and that's another thing. This person has cable. Okay, they have cable because they're going online to sit there and complain about that. So I'm like, if you're telling me that $4.99 is gonna break you, then I don't know, maybe just don't have cable anymore. Like I don't know what to sit there and tell you. You need to sit there and do something with your finances because $4.99 should not be sitting there breaking you unless you literally are. Well, I was gonna sit there and say homeless, but then then you probably won't be online anyway. So I just feel like the excuses with the money, it drives me insane. And I'm not sitting there trying to pull a Invader V, but this whole complaint about the money or whatever, it's like they're literally doing it to $1.99. I'm paying $5 and change, and right now people get to pay $1.99, and you're still complaining. They have a 100. They have a they have a hotline, and you're still complaining. So it's very difficult for me to feel sorry for people when they start acting like that. When they start getting so caught up in their feelings that they want to. And then she was like, "Well, I can't believe that they're doing this to us." This move is to save days. This is what people don't understand, and it takes a 5-second Google search to sit there and understand that they're trying to save days, and that's why they put it on Peacock. Okay? Because just like Passions and all the other soap operas that came before it, it was done. It was a wrap. All My Children, Long Life to Live, it was done. I mean they tried with I forgot the name of that place, but they put it on Hulu, and I think it was literally the business something park something that wound up messing up the whole deal. But the thing is, I mean, it was a move to sit there and try to save it. They went about it in a very crappy way, which ultimately they wound up, they wound up getting the show canceled, getting the whole network and everything canceled. But my point is, with Days, they're trying. They're trying, and it's so much better. Less commercials. You get to watch them when you want. You don't have to even wait till 12 o'clock. And for me personally, just as a reviewer, I I hate watching it on this. Where we're at right now. If you watch, I hate watching it on this. And I hate waiting till 8 o'clock. So the fact that I have to do those two things is amazing. I get to sit there and watch it, clear, and I have to sit there and be trying to hear it and turn it up. And it's just a great move. It's a great move. I'm loving it. And if you saw the previews, it's going to get insane. And I was sitting there like, now I gotta sit there and watch GH. I mean, technically I don't have to, but now it's like, now I'm gonna be watching GH. Anyway, With that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. I'll see you in the next video.